Hi, so I thought I'd talk a little bit today about pleasure. Hurrah! So this morning I had yoga, as I like to do most mornings, and just a short walk from my yoga studio is the beachfront of Brighton. And I probably don't go there enough, actually, considering I live quite close to the sea. So today I was like, I'm just going to go and sit by the beach after yoga. And but there was a voice in my head saying, oh, you haven't got time, you've got to do this video to send out, and you know, you really should be doing something more productive. And I got myself all angsty about it. And then I was like, no, I'm going to take some time for myself. So I went to go and sit on the beach, and it was just for 15 minutes. And that 15 minutes was beautiful, and it just was joyous, and it was lovely. And I was doing something really 100% for me, not for anyone else, not to meet any targets, not to be more productive, just for me. And I was totally in my pleasure about it. You know, pleasure can be everything from a nice long bath to sitting by the beach, for going for walks, to hugging your dog, whatever. Pleasure is different for everybody. But I think that if we take time every day to be in our pleasure, whatever pleasure that is, and really be in that pleasure, then actually we just feel loads better. And it has a ripple out effect on everyone we meet, everyone we love, our partners, our children, our colleagues, our friends. Everyone can just sense that we're high vibration, and people are drawn to that and attracted to that, and they kind of feed off that. They want a bit of that themselves. You know, we're leading by example when we're living in our pleasure. And then of course what happens is, as soon as I take my 15 minutes on the beach, I go, oh, this is great, I'm totally in my pleasure. Right, now I need to get back to work and I need to do this video, and suddenly find myself marching back to the car. So it's interesting how we have this thing around being in pleasure for a certain amount of time, and then we maybe hit what I call the pleasure wall, where maybe we've done too much, we've taken too much. No, that's enough. I'm probably not worthy of receiving as much pleasure as this. And so I almost kind of mini punished myself by shocking my system back into productivity. So there was a little bit of a punishment around letting myself have this pleasure. So homework for you guys this week is to, one, figure out, what is your pleasure? You know, what is it? Is it dancing? Is it singing? Is it reading a book? Is it drinking a really great cup of tea? What is it? And then how many times a day do you do that? And when you do it, do you really let yourself do it? Like, really take time with that book and that cup of tea? Or do you just kind of rush your way through it so that you can meet the next deadline, or pick the kids up from school, or whatever it is? So look at how you are when you're in your pleasure. Do you fully submit to it? Do you surrender to that pleasure, but then do you punish yourself for it somehow afterwards? Shock your system back into action, you know? So these are interesting things to catch yourself with. And if just 10 minutes of being in your pleasure a day can have such a great effect on you, and can ripple out and affect those around you, imagine what even longer in your pleasure could be. So I'm running a weekend course in November in London called the Women's Pleasure Weekend. We tried to find a better name for it, but we just kept calling it that. And the more and more we spoke about it, the women that we spoke to were like, wow, that sounds amazing, I really need that. Because people know that we're not investing in ourselves enough. We're giving out to others, women especially, actually. Giving out to others, being mothers, being wives, you know, with our colleagues as well, just giving. And very rarely do we actually take the time to invest in our own pleasure and in ourselves. So this weekend is going to be a beautiful weekend. 25th to the 27th of November, I believe it is, and it's a whole weekend of really learning about your pleasure in your body, and also being really able to tune into the subtle sensations in our body. Okay, so pleasure can mean walking in the park, sitting on the beach, but also we want to kind of look at sexual pleasure and physical pleasure as well. What does our mind tell our body that we like? But actually, what does our body tell us what we like? Because we very rarely shut off the mind and tune into what we really want. Often we kind of give our pleasure out, so we hope that our partners will know what our pleasure is. Our pleasure depends on someone else being able to give us pleasure. As actually, how about you could find pleasure in your own body without anyone else, or without even touching yourself? How does your body feel when it's in pleasure? And these are questions that we don't explore. This isn't like the sex education that you get at school. Okay, you don't need to learn about condoms and tampons to be in our course. This is something else. This is about really deeply tuning into what is it to be a woman in pleasure. You know, not goal orientated, not focused on an outcome, just really being in the moment. You know, do we ask for what we want and use our voices? And actually, if we're not worried about using our voices, do we actually know what we want? And if we ask for it and it's not quite right, can we then change it? Or can we change our mind? Can we stalk our pleasure and chase our pleasure and chase the subtle sensations and the energy within our body? So yeah, if 10 minutes of pleasure every day makes you feel huge, just imagine what investing in a whole weekend could do. So I really look forward to seeing you at the Women's Pleasure Weekend in November. It's going to be a beautiful experience. If you are at all worried that you're not giving yourself enough time, or that you're too tired, or that you're at a crossroads in your life, or you're feeling a bit stuck, or you find that your pleasure is dependent on someone else or your partner, you definitely need to come on this course. But actually, the Women's Pleasure Weekend is for everyone, and if you invest in your pleasure, your friends, your family, your partners will all reap the benefits, I promise. Lots of love. Mwah.